starting this video over because my dog started barking 4 minutes through the last one, and it just got to be a little too much. So this video is so great because we are going to look at the ways that we are playing small in our relationships. These relationships could be the ones in which you are, I don't know, romantically involved. It could be your family, it could be your friends, it could be your coworkers, how you show up at work, how you show up in the grocery store, the ways that we're playing small in the world at large, and we're playing small with ourselves. So the first card that I drew, and you don't get the surprise factor because I've already seen them, is this Judgment card. It is the Council of Animals. And what's really interesting is they look at me, and yes, they are looking at me. It almost looks like they are an audience of critics. Like this is the theater. They are all theater critics, and they all came to the play the same night. You know, it's not just the one critic that's going to write the view. If this isn't the most amazing performance of your life, your career is over. I'm a performer, so that this is high stakes, right? And it doesn't really need to be this high stakes because we can't be perfect all the time. We can only be ourselves, all right? And I really want you to take that in. We can't be perfect all the time. We can only be ourselves, and being ourselves is what is perfection. Okay, so the next card that I drew in relation to this internal dynamic of why it is that we played small is the reverse Queen of Cups, the Weaver, the Weaver of Visions. Now, what's really beautiful is upright. In this specific card, it's a mermaid who's reaching for a whole new world. She's reaching for this whole new world with curiosity and wonder and excitement. She's ready to go and expand her horizons beyond the world of under the sea, of the watery grave of emotions that she's been living in. Maybe not grave, but reverse, this takes on a whole different meaning, right? It's almost she's sinking. She's going away from the vision that she's holding, and she's dropping head first down into the dark depths, pits of despair. It might not be that eternal and scary, but it seems like it could be, because her whole demeanor changes going in this direction. But this direction, there's optimism, there's truth. Okay, so I think the invitation here, and it comes up to something I was talking about with my therapist today, of just like really working to cultivate healthy boundaries, right? Now, healthy boundaries is a place we meet in the middle. It's not where we are doormats and people are walking all over us. It's not where we're walls and people can't get through. Healthy boundaries are where we create something in the middle, where we're sensitive to the needs of other people. We're listening to their requests, to their desires. On the other end, we're creating safety for ourselves by not letting those in who aren't ready to be open and receptive. All right. So it's like we're creating this beautiful world. Now, the external energy that came up is the Two of Pentacles. Now, this is a card of balance in the physical. Absolutely. It's exactly what we're talking about. So what ways, I invite you to explore these questions of what ways are you playing small? Where are you not sharing your full expressive self? Now, I know some people, I'm not one of, I do it a little bit. I mean, this channel is a great example of this. I don't post videos like this on my regular Instagram. But I don't mask it either. People know that I do this. I've shared it once in a while of saying, hey, if you're curious, check this out, right? So I'm keeping this healthy boundary because I know that this material isn't going to speak to everybody on that specific channel, right? So when we're in the middle of this whole new world, oh, that's the wrong Disney song. Being a part of this whole new world, we're going to combine all the fairy tales today. When we're in the middle of this, we are also acting as a bridge. And sometimes bridges get burned, you know, because they're not ready to make the connection, or the connection is safe. We got walls and we got doormats, you know, we don't have healthy boundaries. But if this bridge is a boundary bridge and it is creating a bridge between worlds, we're exploring this healthy balance. Now, what I'm finding as I explore these cards is something that's, and we got like an active bridging energy in these cards too. Now, there is a block that comes from our inner child, from our childhood, from our early years. This also could be related to past lives. We're doing multi-dimensional healing work at this time, so it's not just as simple as our inner child. I mean, we are clearing the karmic dynamics from multiple lineages, from not only our soul group, but our extended soul groups, not only our family lineage and our bloodlines, but beyond. Those of us, and especially if you're tuning into my channel, it's likely that you are doing expansive amounts of this work or are getting prepared to do so. I don't think people who are probably doing this aren't checking my energy updates because they're doing their own. But, you know, when I check in with other healers, it's usually because they've gridded in a certain level. Now, what I'm also seeing is, last time I picked up this card, this is when my dog started barking, so now I'm nervous. Don't start. So what I'm seeing in this is, how do we bridge the past self to the current self so that we can show up in this loyalty and safety? There's love here, but a child can't take care of a puppy. A child can only play with a puppy. A grown man can play with a puppy and be supported by a puppy, can be supported by his dog, right? So we're going to look at where this is going as far as the healing is concerned, because this is a clear reading after all. So I'm going to do the medicine cards. Okay, here this is Demania, and obviously there's some sacred union happening on these cards, okay? So we're looking at the beloved. Now, it's funny, as I said I was going to do this reading, I was doing a reading on the masculine and feminine, and I also just finished writing a poem about the way we grow forth most deliberately with this work is by is through union energies. Now, of course, we're talking about unions as within, so without. We're talking about our inner beloveds, and we're talking about our outer beloveds. But partly of how we heal the judgment, and I am going to play this externally for a moment because I've been noticing a huge theme of it in my own life, is the more we release the judgment of the external, the more, if we're doing conscious work around it, we are cultivating deeper love and understanding within ourselves. And when we're seeing that external reflection of somebody not judging us for, I don't know, saying going batshit crazy, and we're holding it down, and then or they're holding it down for us to go to these parts, it's actually, if it's being done consciously, not if you're just unhinged and like being wild and free in an ungrounded way, which also ties back to that other reading, is that we've got to cultivate this sacred intentional energy. Now, what's beautiful about this is they're being washed with all of these elements. There's the sacred wings of the beloved. You've got the cup raining over. You've got the crow. And it looks like, you know, these are carrying the wings of this sacred union, okay? So how we heal ourselves through sacred union, I'm just feeling very called to like hold my hands in prayer position as we talk about this. This balances our masculine and feminine energies. It balances this act of giving and receiving. And if we can do that with our partners, and we're balancing this act of giving and receiving with them, opposite hand in hand, we're cultivating this really beautiful mirror that is absolutely allowing expanding. Now, this is not what I thought was going to come through on this healing at all. So I think I'm going to draw one other card here from the Plant Oracle. Okay, shapeshifting, which came out as the the end of the reading for the other one. Man, these things they're not kidding around. I love when cards just keep coming up over and over again because you're like, how could I not be using this as guidance? Okay, so the Demania and shapeshifting. Okay, so what I'm really feeling here, It reminds me of a story early on in my beloved days, in my beloved beginnings, when I was first kind of understood the grander capacity of what the path of sacred union was about. And my partner at the time, who was the one who kind of initiated me onto this path, and it was the one in which I had awakenings through. And I started to understand my intuitive gifts and my dream centers and, you know, premonitions and all of that stuff. It's when I started reading tarot. So my initiation partner, who I thought was the twin flame at the time, he might have just carried the twin flame energies. I personally don't get stuck on labels because life is too expansive to be like this. And maybe that's because I'm a wild and crazy starseed. Look at me. And am I even just a starseed? No, I'm a Palladian indigo starseed. Okay, I divert. Anyway, my partner was having a very hard time, and he was avoiding me, and I wasn't getting the connection that I wanted and needed. And I decided to do my best to shape shift into his very essence. So I drank a bunch of whiskey. I got some herbal cigarettes because I can't smoke. I've never smoked tobacco. And I put on his shoes, his pants, his sweatshirt, and I sat on the porch drinking whiskey and smoking these cigarettes, listening to the Counting Crows. And I was trying to embody his essence because I so deeply wanted to understand what it was that he was going through so that I could better understand and match him so that then I could get the love that I wanted. Now, of course, there's a million red flags in this story, and that was a long time ago, maybe 8-9 years ago. But what I learned from that, and what I am learning even through sharing this story, is that we do want to have that type of presence with our partner. It's because their external reflection, in a way, is our reflection of ourselves. And it brings me to this card too, of this part of your world, right? I want to be a part of your world. But I also want to be a part of a whole new world where we're in it together and it's not just this crazy dynamic, right? So a part of your world. So an aspect of shape-shifting is dropping into how can I be a part of your world? Now we can do this with our beloveds, and unlike the story that I told, I don't think you need whiskey and cigarettes or the Counting Crows even to have that full journey. But the presence that you can have is releasing the judgment around that. Now, as you do this work with a beloved, if they're showing up with things and they're willing to share and talk about their experience, that's where this mirroring work really comes into handy. That's where the shape-shifting, because you're living through each other's stories and you're starting to alchemize the sacred tree energy as we're talking about. Like it's, these two wholes coming together so that we can rejoin in union as this like sacred multi-dimensional masculine, feminine tree. But we can also do it for yourselves. So if you can sit in the mirror or in front of a video or whatever it is and share and be your own council of animals and like address each one of those critics that's coming up, that's judging your own experience as to where it is that you are. Now, the thing is we don't want to be stuck. We also sometimes need other professionals to help us along these journeys. Now you can use, I represent and recommend a multi-dimensional layer. I think you need like a trained therapist who understands the workings of the human mind, maybe a coach, maybe a healer, maybe intuitives. Like there's a lot of different ways to work. Maybe it's just a strong journaling practice. Maybe you're able to get this through watching shows and movies intentionally. Books, that sort of thing. There's a lot of multiple ways to do this layered work, and I recommend all of them. It's not a one size fits all. If anyone's like, I'm the healer, I will heal you, you don't need anything else, that's bullshit, because we are multidimensional beings, and it's not like we eat one type of food and we get all of our nourishment, unless you're taking prenatal vitamins. No, I'm just kidding. You can't live off those either. So we do this sacred work with the beloved. Now I'm going to draw from the shamanic oracle and see where this takes us. Okay, healing energy. Okay, so we want to bring, and what I love about this, so there's something going on with the hands here. All right, so I brought up my hands to screen, transmitting, energy for sure. But can you do this with your beloved? Can you do this with yourself? You can also do it with healing friends intentionally, this sort of thing. So it's really bringing out the intentionality of this healing energy. I'm also getting a really strong vision of finding those places inside of you where you feel small. When you think of a scared little girl, little boy, you think of like the words of not being enough, or like I'm too weird, I'm too much. Where is that sitting in your body? Where is that coming up? And can you touch those spots, saying, "Hey, little you, I'm here now." And then just imagine through your hand that there's a mass amount of healing energy radiating through. And do this to every spot that you're finding this thing, and take some time with it. Be present. If you need to have a conversation with the version of you that lives in that spot, do it. Or maybe you just need to breathe into that spot. Okay, so this healing energy is really important. And I want to focus in this healing energy by bringing in the Lemurian Oracle. Wow, and now we have basically the upright version of this, and a little more psychedelic, I would say. Okay, so the healed version moving forward is shining your light. Okay, so what I'm really... I'm going to read this card because I feel like there's medicine on the back of it that we want to integrate. No one can do as you can, yet sometimes we feel that we need to be a certain way, a way that is not aligned with our authentic self. It takes discipline to do what we love, especially if we are natural givers. It is easy to get caught up in other people's lives. Tending to our own needs harms none, and we have a lot more to give. It is time to collect our light and shift the vibration here on earth, starting with our inner sense of being. You are a sovereign being. Regain compassionate empowerment and remember what lights up your world. Okay, I feel like this image is alive. Now, what I'm getting as this is in related to the beloved is really coming into these internal energies as well. I think it's, everybody's on a different spectrum with this, but I find that either people are too introspective or they're too outrospective. You're too focused on what's happening to you, or you're too focused on this keeps happening to me, or who's doing what, or that you're doing too much, all right? And we really have to find that balance of how we can give and receive, not only to ourselves, but externally, okay? Now, in context of the playing too small thing, is like we really want to be this radiant mermaid, right? We really want to shine our light. And you can almost think of the difference of these two beings. She's headed towards rock bottom and she's like headed towards cliff top. And we want to find this balance in the middle, right? Where we can bridge and we can help others by healing ourselves, all right? We don't want to be the hurt people hurting people. We want to be the healed people healing people. But it's also not our job to heal people. Our job is just to radiate and shine the light of where we are on our healing journey, and know that that's a part of the transmission that is helping other people heal. Okay, I'm feeling like we need some more information here. I want to keep going. So I'm going to draw from the inner child, because I want to send healing energy specific to an aspect of the inner child that's speaking forth right now. Okay, we've got the magician. Okay, so the magical child. Let's take a moment very specifically. I want you to find where the magic child lives in your being, okay? Where was the most whimsical part of you? You know, where was she or he bounding, fearless and free? Where did they have that creative sense? Where were their intuitive abilities most open? Their natural gifts most free? Did they like to sing? Did they share stories? Were they drawing? Were they moving? Were they dancing? Were they just hugging trees? What is it? Were they reading books, engaging their imagination? Were they writing books? There's so many different ways that our inner children wanted to be engaged in this world early on that we ended up shutting down. And I find that those components of our inner child are usually the most magical. All right. I know for myself, I always knew that I wanted to be a comedian. I always knew that I wanted to be a comic actress, sharing story, helping people laugh when they weren't at work. But why limit that to that? I really wanted to hone in on these gifts of bringing joy, of bringing more light into the world. And that's really a huge part for me. And even in these videos, as we get into the denser energy, it's like I've gone to some really dense places throughout the journey of my almost 6 years of life. I've gone to these dense places so that I could bring light to them, so that I could talk about them and come back from a place of non-judgment. Now, am I perfect in this? Absolutely not. I am horribly imperfect. And that's okay, because I'm perfect exactly where I am, sharing what I am in this moment. And we all are in that. So in all of this work, always just stop and celebrate where you are too, and also stop and celebrate where you know that you're going. Okay, so we're going into this inner magician, the magical part of ourselves who believes in fairies, who believes in mystical things, who believes in Santa, believes in all of these different things. And I know for myself that when I was told these things didn't exist and I found out the truth of the matter, a large part of me died but never died, because I never stopped believing, because I felt like I had encounters with these magical beings and I saw them. And so it's like releasing the blocks and the restrictions, the parts of the veil that aren't serving us anymore. We want the veil to be more thin. It can still be a protective layer. We don't want to be blown up all the time, but we really want to be in this receptive, open place of anything is possible. All right. Kids I'm surprised they don't fly, to be honest, because they believe so much and they can be so free. And I'm surprised that they're not just like naturally levitating all the time. And at some point you just get grounded, right? And that's really like here on Earth, we've all gotten grounded. Unfortunately, gravity does that. So that's your joke for today. And I'm feeling kind of whole with this reading. I know it was a little all over the place, but healing can happen fast. And sometimes it's just an invocation of words that's unlocking these pieces. I'm almost seeing like your heart be like a little key turning in them and kind of unlocking this whole world for you just based on these cards that came through. Know that I believe in you and I don't want you to play small. I want to see what it is that you are going to bring forward into the world. You know, the world needs your medicine, and you might not connect with the masses, and that's okay, because you're going to connect with who you need to connect with. Not everybody in the world needs to take Adderall. That is not a medicine that is intended for every person, right? Some people it really helps. Some people need to take a more natural version of that. There's all sorts of different medicines, and we as people are different medicines as well. We're bringing through different vibrations from our different star systems or from the different places we are on the earth, and that should be cherished and valued in totality for what it is. So here's to you, my friend, for being here, for making it through this 22-minute video, and here's to me for making the video. Aho.